I'm going to walk you through how to make use of the Kahoot website. So you as an educator will come to the website getkahoot.com. And if you don't have an account, you will have to click here where it says sign up for a free account. And once you do have that account, you can sign in. And it is going to save all your Kahoots that you either use, create, or share. And when you land here on the home page, it does give you 3 options to start a new Kahoot, which is a type of tool you can use again for assessment to get to know your students. You have the ability to create a quiz. And with the quiz, you can create multiple choice questions and assign a correct answer to one of those. In there, you will have the ability to turn on or off points so that it sometimes can be engaging for your students and fun for them to create and gain points. You have the ability to create a Kahoot for discussion purposes. So often that's just used on the spot to throw out one question if you have in the spur of the moment teachable opportunity. And lastly, you have the ability for a survey. And the survey tool, again, is multiple choice, but it does not have a right or wrong answer. So it's great for taking polls or surveys, starting discussions or debates, and looking at it that way. Up here on the toolbar at the top, you can see you can start by clicking New Kahoot to start building one of those 3 choices. You have My Kahoots, and I'll just click on there. And again, you're going to see all the Kahoots that you've either built or copied into your own library of Kahoots here. And here you will have the ability to edit. You'll notice that you can click the edit button. You can duplicate. If you wanted to save a master and change something, you can also delete that altogether. You also have the ability here to hit play and launch that Kahoot for your students. Coming back up to the toolbar, you'll also notice that you have the ability here for public Kahoots. And these are all the Kahoots that other teachers around the world have shared. So in here you can either scroll on through them. You also have the ability to search by subject or age here for audiences. I click on school. And if you wanted to choose what type of Kahoot, whether it's a quiz or a survey. And you'll also notice here that you can pick things that are popular and trending. So those are often current events. So as I click this here, you see Pokemon, which happens to be a big deal right now. And there's all kinds of things from curriculum connected Kahoots to getting to know you activities, all different types of Kahoots. If you do see a Kahoot in here that you would like to use, perhaps let's just pull up something on math. And you can be more specific if you're looking for something in measurement or addition or fractions or whatever that might be. But I can click on the title to go ahead and have a preview. And right away I notice that that one isn't all in English, so I'm going to go back. Not my first choice. So I'm going to narrow down that result and try to pick something else. Here we go. Let's say I'm looking at adding integers. I also can click where it says here, show all answers. So I can already see the questions and the answers that whoever built this Kahoot was using. I might decide I like this Kahoot just the way it is. And if that's the case, I can go ahead right from here and say play. I also have the ability to use this button that says duplicate. And now that has moved that into my Kahoots, and you'll see it here. And right away it's asking me to continue editing. So I'm going to say continue to edit. And here's where I can go in and delete, change, or alter or edit this in any way I like. You'll notice beside each question, you can change the time limit that you want the students to have. You can hit the pencil here to edit, or I can come in and I could change the question, the time limit, or the answers. I can even change the picture that they've chosen to use. Up in the top right-hand corner, you have the next button, which takes you back out. You can hit this little garbage can icon to delete a question. And you also have the ability to duplicate the question. So you might want to just duplicate it and change some of the responses or something like that. Once you're happy with what you want that Kahoot to look like, you're going to hit the Save button. And again, here it gives you the ability to edit, preview, or play. Or you might just say, I'm done for now, because you're going to use that Kahoot leader with your students. Once you are finished, maybe you're ready to use it with your students, you're going to hit play. And what it's going to do is it's going to generate the PIN number that the students will need to enter in. Again, it's going to ask you, do you want to use classic mode or team mode? And that will depend. If your students all have access to some type of a device, they only need a device that can access the internet. So it does work with phones, but you may be doing this as a team event. So perhaps maybe you don't have a device for every student and you're going to split the students into groups. It also gives you some options here that you can choose if you want to randomize the order of questions. One that's important that says displays the game pin. I always leave that one on. For whatever reason, if a student for whatever reason gets kicked out of the game, they can re-enter the Kahoot by entering that pin in again. So I'm just going to say classic for now. And it's going to go ahead and formulate the pin number here. So here's the pin number your students will enter. I'm just going to turn that down. Your students will go to the internet, and they're going to go to the unique website of Kahoot.it. And that takes them to the student login. And that's where they will enter this PIN number here. So you will need to have it projected for the students. I'm just going to copy that so I can show you. So they'll go ahead and type in that number and say enter. And then it's going to ask them for a name. I often will, if I'm using one-to-one devices, will number off my students. Student 1, student 2, and then they'll say okay. Once my students are logged in, I'll just do that so you can see what it looks like. On the teacher screen, you'll see them coming in here, and I can see how many students are in. If you want to record individual results, you will want your students to use the same name every time. And once your students are logged in, you'll simply hit start, and it's going to go ahead, and you'll notice the PIN number stays at the bottom of the screen, and it's going to start generating the questions. What the students see, once that loads, is they're only going to see 4 options. So they do need to be able to see that screen, whether you're projecting it with a projector or you have just a computer that they can see, and they will make their choices according to the color-coordinated response. As the teacher, you'll continue to hit next to go through the questions until you're all finished. Now, you can see I have a lot of Kahoots sitting in here. And to be honest, most of them I take from public Kahoots and I alter them to make them my own. But I have created some generic ones as well. When you create a new Kahoot, let's say we're going to create a quiz, you will see that you need to give it a title and a description. If you are familiar with how to use hashtags, by all means, you can do that as well. You can click here to add images, so you will have to have them saved on your computer to add them. Just a reminder here, if you choose only you, that will stay in your library only. If you choose everyone, it will be in your library, but it will also be searchable by everyone else on Kahoot. And you want to make sure you choose your audience. The credit resources here is if you've taken a picture from the internet, you might paste in the site that you got it from just to give credit and copyright to that. You also can post a YouTube link in there if you'd like it to show a video. And then in the top right hand corner, you're going to say, okay, go. And this is where you'll start building your questions. So you can add a question. Whatever that might look like for you. You can choose the time limit. You can decide if you want points on or off, depending on your class. They do get quite excited. Here you may choose to add an image or a video. So sometimes I will use this to pique students' interest around a topic by showing them a short video clip or an image for them to explore. And then I need to put in my responses here. You need a minimum of at least 2 responses and a maximum of 4. And then if you're in quiz feature, you'll need to check which one is the correct answer. And then you'll simply click next and continue to build your questions. Once you're happy with that, you'll hit save, and it's going to add it into your Kahoot library. You don't have to build the entire thing. You can always come back and edit that later, simply by coming in here and clicking edit. And you can also share that if you decide at a later time to make that public and you want to share it. If your students are using their own device and you are using it for a more formal type of assessment, you're going to notice if you come up where your username is, there's a little drop-down arrow, and you can see where it says My Results. And any Kahoots that you've used with students will be saved here. It does give you 3 options. You can download those results, you can save them to a Google Drive, or you can play again. Play again is great if you're using it at the beginning of a unit and then again at the end of a unit. And as long as your students log in with the same name, what happens when you come into play again is they actually play to try to beat their own score. By using the download results, it will save that for you in a spreadsheet. And you can go ahead and explore those in an Excel table here, which will just take a second to formulate, and it will show you the individual students' results, what they got right and what they got wrong, and it will give you a percentage of those right and wrong answers as well. And it just takes a minute to formulate. You will need Excel on your device for it to be able to open. Because I haven't used that Kahoot, there's nothing in there, but it would have the questions and the right answers and all of their names. If you don't have Excel, you can save it to your Google Drive and open it in Google Sheets. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you one that I have played, just so you can see what it looks like with actual student results in there. And here you can see all the students' names. It tells me how many they were incorrect, how many were correct. If you assign points, it does give you the score. And then it shows you each question. If they got it right, it's in green. If they got it red, it's wrong. This was used at the beginning of the unit before the students had any background information. So it just kind of gave me an idea of where I wanted to direct some of my lessons for this topic. As you can see, they got a lot wrong. And here at the bottom, it gives me the overall scores here. So what's great about this is at the end of the unit, I would use this same quiz and check to see if the students had made improvement. So again, create Kahoot is where you're building them, and Kahoot.it is where your students will come to play. So hopefully that will get you started. Don't be afraid to go to YouTube and type in Kahoot and see how other educators are making use of it as well.